Welcome to 12 News. I'm Jade Alexa.
And I'm Chloe Ortega. Thanks for joining us. Here's some of the stories we're following today, Wednesday, November 17th. Jackson remains under a citywide boil water notice as the latest water crisis affecting the capital city continues. Hear from people who say they're fed up with the constant water issues. Plus,
these people have taken my confidence, but I pray God gets them.
A jewelry store manager in Byram says she is frustrated after her store was broken into. The latest on the race to find the thieves.
and we'll tell you how industrial pollution is impacting the Magnolia State and take you down to Byram, where a factory there has become a concern in the community. All those stories and more coming up, but first let's have a check on weather. I think that's the moon behind you, Jacob. Am I right?
That's right.
Ooh.
And come Friday morning, Chloe and Jade, we're going to be watching the lunar eclipse.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
gonna be
that's going to
exciting.
be gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a bright moon this morning, mostly clear skies, and temperatures still pretty mild here across the Jackson Metro. We're at 51 downtown. Madison, much warmer though, 58 degrees in Madison County. Over in Pearl and Brandon, 52 and 50 degrees this morning. 60s along the river. We're at 60 in Natchez, Rolling Fork, 61 degrees this morning in Vicksburg, 56 for Hazelhurst. Our coolest spots in the Pine Belt, Hattiesburg, Laurel, and Raleigh at 51 degrees. So mostly sunshine here for today. Still a pretty nice day. Mild temps this morning in the upper 50s for the kids at the bus stop. Warm this afternoon. Upper 70s, some spots near 80. But today is the last day of the clear skies and the warmth because cold front is incoming as we head into tonight and tomorrow morning. I'm timing out the rain coming up in about 10 minutes.
Thanks, Jacob. This morning, Jackson remains on a citywide precautionary boil water notice.
Parts of the O.B. Curtis water treatment plant were shut down after a bad batch of chemicals used to improve water quality were incorrectly administered over the weekend. This forced the city to shut down the conventional side of the plant, empty the basins, and issue the boil water notice. City leaders say with such a fragile water system, problems are going to continue until the proper resources like money from President Biden's infrastructure bill are made available.
And as a result, that's a very timely process. And so we're trying to balance keeping the pressure consistent on that side while we were treating the water and getting the water out of the system. But unfortunately, we just could not hold that 65 PSI. There's still a lot that needs to be done. And a lot of that's going to be attributed to available resources that hopefully will come through this infrastructure bill.
Dr. Williams says water pressure is returning to normal in many areas of the city, and water testing should start soon in order to try to lift the boil water notice by tomorrow.
The issue with Jackson's water doesn't come as a surprise for many people living in the capital city. Bottled water has been flying off the shelves in Jackson area stores. Several people we spoke to say they're fed up because they've dealt with this issue too many times.
This has been an ongoing issue. The saddest thing about this time was people were not informed. You got up to low or no pressure. I put it on my Facebook page to see if anybody else was having problems. And come to find out it wasn't just South Jackson. Everybody started chiming in saying they were all over Jackson having a problem and nobody received any notice.
In February, people across the city lost water service for weeks due to the ice storm that shut down the O.B. Curtis water treatment plant. And that brings us to this morning's 12 News Connect question. What is the city of Jackson's biggest infrastructure problem? Water or roads? Vote online at wjtv.com/connect or use the 12 News mobile app. We'll have the results for you at 6 and 6:30.
Heading over to Madison County now. 7 men are found guilty in connection to a burglary at a deer camp. Back in October of 2019, Madison County deputies responded to a break-in at a deer camp in Camden. Officials say 6 ATVs, 2 trailers, 35 firearms, a gun safe, trail cameras, and hunting gear were all stolen. Authorities were able to identify the suspects and locate all of the ATVs in 1 trailer. Trevin Carmichael, LaKeith Smith, LaRegis Carter were all sentenced to 25 years in prison. Latavius Leach and Kendravius Job were sentenced to 40 years. Janoris Williams will serve 48 years in prison, and Quintavious Davis will be sentenced at a later date.
The Jones County Sheriff's Department is reminding people to stay vigilant during the holiday season as thefts traditionally increase during this time of year. According to Deputy Mitch Sumrall, burglaries spike between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Most are crimes of opportunity when thieves steal packages out of cars and on front porches. Deputy Sumrall says take precaution to secure all your personal property and don't leave valuables in your cars, especially when you're out shopping.
And down in Byram, a jewelry store manager is speaking out after her store was broken into over the weekend, and it was all caught on camera. You can see at the top of your screen there, and right here, the two suspects got away with nearly $20,000 worth of jewelry. Shirley McMullen, manager of Platinum Jewelers, says she lost her confidence in people after this crime. She says she's thankful that things weren't worse and that whoever did this will be found and held responsible.
I was on my way to church. He hollered, "Hey, Miss Shirley." I backed up to see what he wanted. He says, "They got us last night." And my first reaction was, "Do what?" These people have taken my confidence, but I pray God gets them.
Byram Mayor Richard White says he has confidence the police department will find those responsible. And if you have any information, contact Byram PD.
Staying in Byram, a factory in the town is one of 4 in Mississippi that has been flagged in an investigative report for allegedly releasing cancer-causing emissions into the air. Precoat Metals and Grown Adover Industries have been named by ProPublica as a contributor to cancerous emissions in the area. But the mayor of Byram says he's not too concerned because the factories are in an industrial park away from the town's primary communities, and he's received no notifications of violations by the company. But ProPublica says the reason these companies haven't been flagged by the EPA is due to flaws in the system.
If you live in a place with multiple facilities, every facility could be following the law. They could be emitting exactly what they're allowed to emit by regulation, and yet the combined effect of those emissions could be significantly raising the estimated cancer risk. And that comes down to how the EPA doesn't properly, thoroughly assess the cumulative risk from multiple facilities at once.
The EPA says they have charged all their leaders with incorporating environmental justice into everything they do and have been empowered to do so by the Biden administration.
About a third of Americans 65 and older have gotten a COVID-19 booster shot, and by Friday, all adults over the age of 18 could be eligible for a third dose. The extra protection could be key to clamping down on rising case numbers as we head into the holiday season. The FDA could authorize Pfizer's COVID-19 booster as soon as tomorrow, and the CDC may sign off on Friday. Several states have already approved the extra dose. On Monday, the CDC reported more than 150,000 new infections for the first time in 2 months. As of right now, only 58% of Americans are fully vaccinated.
When we look back on this, we will see that boosters are likely a very critical part of the immunization regimen.
We've collected new data now showing the importance of third immunization, and the states are able to be a little bit more nimble and move faster.
A new poll from Monmouth University found that 68% of Americans plan to spend Thanksgiving with at least the same amount of people as they did before the pandemic. That's up from 46% last year.
As vaccine mandates continue to be an issue for many Americans, several states are looking for ways around the Biden administration's federal vaccine rules. Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch has joined 12 other states in filing another lawsuit against vaccine mandates. The lawsuit says the mandate exceeds Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services statutory authority and violates the Security Act's prohibition on regulations that control the selection and tenure of healthcare workers. The mandate requires all healthcare workers to be vaccinated by January 4th, 2022.
And the race is on to determine who will be the next sheriff of Hinds County. Marshawn Chrysler and Captain Tyree Jones will meet in a live debate right here on 12 News. The debate kicks off at 6:30 p.m. and it'll be an hour-long program with the first half being broadcast on Wjtv and the entire debate streamed live on WJTV.com. A runoff election to decide the winner will be held Tuesday, November 23rd. And your time right now is 4:39.
And coming up on 12 News, we'll tell you how much money was transferred to the state treasury from the Mississippi Lottery.
And coming up next on 12 News at 5, we'll tell you why Jackson Police Chief James Davis is pushing for a new jail to house misdemeanor offenders as the city continues to fight its crime crisis.
And sunrise this morning coming up at 6:32 a.m. We're going to be at 54 degrees, mostly sunshine, but I'm tracking cooler air and rain and the hour-by-hour forecast coming up next.
But first, taking a look at our live eye, Patty Peck Honda in Ridgeland. I think that's the moon there that you see. Wow, it is bright this morning. Thanks for watching 12 News.